And we are only hoping that this kind of endorsement will not cloud the judgment of any investigative institution that is conducting, doing any work. It says also because in some few days back, we had a vice president talking about some matters being taken to court so far as the old administration's work or allegations of corruption are concerned. And we had him clearly mentioning the Zubers, the Jidas, and all that. And so, in as much as we would want to see these matters go to court, any kind of endorsement of this nature then makes ordinary Ghanaians confused. And if care is not taken, investigative bodies also then become confused and wouldn't know how to proceed. We are actually saying that government should take the steps to let us know where we are. So far as the investigations actually happened in recent times, the ones about the overbloating of invoices and whatever allegations of those ones are concerned, which end Joy FM published the news item, and the CID called some people to give further information. We want to know where we are on these matters.
All right, so you heard the president and you heard Linda Oforukafo of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, who joined other civil society to suggest that what the president did was disappointing, because many people remember that the president and Dr. Bawumia in particular, leading the NPP's campaign, had a lot of issues with the government then, and would always refer to matters in which this gentleman and his company were involved in. In fact, as we speak, Jospon is under investigations by the police CID. So what they are saying, is it right or it's not? They suggest that it can actually compromise the investigations because the officers might feel that the president is even showering praises on the man and his company. How do we go about doing differently? Okay, so just some of your messages. There are loads of them, but I'll disappoint you, because if they are all about just praising the panel, I'm not going to read them. I'll only read one, which says, your panel is not gender balanced. Why only women?
I had requested that.
And
I wish some men.
Yes, and Kukubako is just loving the show.
We miss him.
We miss him.
And
I actually asked for him to join.
He's going through his documents in his room and says that the focus now should be on the post-amendment products. Yeah. Fortunately, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is neither a court nor is the Special Prosecutor a judge. The Office and the Special Prosecutor cannot and will not determine the ultimate outcome of a case. Right. Only a court of competent jurisdiction will do that. Of course, all prosecutors proceed to court hoping to win all their cases. Perhaps the finance minister could have avoided his 75% success projection. However, methinks it didn't and shouldn't constitute a fatal injury to the integrity of the work of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. So that's sort of a direct reaction there to Madam Mona Cortez's reference to the finance minister. He feels that the finance minister should not have said what he said.
No, he should not.
But he says it doesn't compromise anything as far as he's concerned.
It sends a signal, but it doesn't compromise, yes. F.O.
Newton from Mankranso says that the Special Prosecutor Bill is never a panacea for curbing corruption as perceived by most people. It won't change anything because all powers are already vested in the Attorney Generals and Minister of Justice. Musa Baton in Kumasi says, I'm confused about the Office of the Special Prosecutor because there is nothing like independent prosecutor. In any case, who's going to appoint the prosecutor and what guarantees do we have? The person would be independent. What is the AG's work when special prosecutor is set up? Clearly, it's counterproductive. Governments cannot fight corruption till independent prosecutor has been established. Of course, I'm sure you sent this before. Honorable Ajasafo explained the aspects of independence and other associated matters. Sophia Musa in Kumbungu says that it is becoming evidently clear that Nana-Addo and his MPP government have the political muscle to implement any policy or policies that will inure to the benefit of all Ghanaians, irrespective of their affiliations. Ghana is indeed working again. Michael Amening in the UK says that, I like the composition of your panel. Ladies show. I believe the situation in Zimbabwe today is very volatile and Zimbabweans can be traumatized. But the fact is that President Mugabe's credentials and academic qualification is #1 in the world, but health and age is not on his side. I believe military action is unacceptable. Okay. Michael Amening again, sorry, I won't read your second message. Someone else's message should be put on for me to read. Okay, so you wanted, is it 10 seconds?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, quickly, as we have said, all of us agree that we do have a problem and then we want the problem resolved. And I think that the special prosecutor idea is a good place to start, but we must not lose sight of the fact of what we are trying to solve. For that reason, we must continuously see how we can make it benefit what we want to address the issues of corruption. On that, I have 4 suggestions. One is to reiterate the point of the power of noli prosequi. I think that we have to revisit the Attorney General's power of noli prosequi. I think it should be required of the Attorney General to give reasons. That is the only time we can challenge the use of it. Otherwise, the Attorney General can use it anyhow, and we can't do anything about it. And then secondly, we know that under the Constitution, any person who alleges any act...
You don't believe that under Article 296, for example, you can go and demand that the Attorney General explains why a null prosequi is issued?
No. Because Article 296 applies when you think somebody has acted arbitrarily. Somebody must not act arbitrarily, capriciously. If somebody hasn't given a reason, what are you going to use as your argument that it's been capricious or it's been arbitrary?
Okay, let's go on.
Okay.
What's your next point?
So expressly, to just make it safer, Attorney General should be required to give reasons. My next reason is that we know that under the Constitution, a person can ask, any person can sue alleging unconstitutionality. If we are that serious about corruption, I think we should revisit Article 88 and make it possible, generally across our laws, for any person to be able to take out a process for a declaration, even if it is just a declaration and recovery of assets, where they think they have evidence of corruption and they want to do it. Just like the way they can sue under the Constitution, they should also be able to sue for declaratory reliefs in respect of corruption.
Right.
And then if that fails, of course, once we have that, it can be used to compel the Attorney General to undertake prosecutions. If the Attorney General is not taking prosecutions on corruption, we should be able to ask.
Number 2?
Number 2, we should be able to demand reasons.
Let's go to number 3.
Number 3 is the ability to demand reasons and for reasons to be given for non-prosecution.
Okay.
And then the 4th one, everybody, is the right to information. If we are going to be able to fight corruption, we should have information. Corruption thrives in darkness. So if we have the right to information bill, a lot more people will be empowered to demand and receive information for us to be able to shed light on these things.
But somehow in this law, you may find the need to give reasons and exist, particularly in the exercise of noli prosequi. And then also there's supposed to be a quarterly update of the citizenry through publications in 2 major newspapers and on the website of the Special Prosecutor.
There's a threshold. So the ones that don't fall within the threshold
right.
of the Special Prosecutor,
those that have succeeded.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, we should be able to ask of the Attorney General, demanding that from the Attorney General.
Thank you. So briefly then, what do you say about the criticism of the President praising Just One?
Oh, I actually, I wouldn't have recommended it. The reason being that if there are investigations ongoing, I think making comments one way or the other could be seen to have a prejudicial effect.
When the comments are not about the investigations ongoing?
No, but the comments, because if you look at the content of the comment, it appears that this is just a hard time you are facing, and I know you can handle it. It gives the perception, whether rightly or wrongly,
and that this is to be expected if you are in this kind of
exactly
business.
that gives the perception, rightly or wrongly, as though you are encouraging the person on, or maybe it is to the extent that people are just making noise about you. It makes it seem as if the allegations may not be valid, because it is a fact that people always have issues. My comment is, as a #1 gentleman, probably no comment in that direction, so that people can't take it one way or the other, and it wouldn't be seen to affect people who have investigations. So no.
Very disappointing for President Nana Akufo-Addo to actually even visit Jospin. Very disappointing. Having regard to what he claims he stands for, it is clear double standards on his part. And this is the real him. The chickens or hens or whatever have come to roost. And it's not even a subtle endorsement. He was actually praising the guy. We are not saying, I mean, there's an investigation going on, so one is not going into the merits or otherwise. We're looking at the image and figure that campaigner, political campaigner, give me a chance to become president of Ghana. What did he say on campaign grounds? What did he say at rallies? What did he say he stood for in terms of being that quintessential human rights and transparent, squeaky clean Ghanaian presidential candidate who should become president? And in less than 1 year, you are well aware as a lawyer that there is investigation by state institutions that you are in charge of as the leader of this country. And you go and visit this institution and heap praises on the personality who is the subject matter of investigations. When you yourself, less than how many, 2006, when you were campaigning, said something else. Now you are president, you fully endorse. This is clear double standards. This is very regrettable, and Ghanaians should see President Nana Akufo-Addo for who he actually is.
Mona, do you agree with Linda Forey-Kwafo of the Ghana Integrity Initiative when she says that those who are investigating may lose the power to be able to do a good job? Why should the president saying, look, you're facing challenges, you know, fight on. Challenges will come, just fight on. But the things you have done, some of them are good examples of what we need to do. And is it not true that we can see across the length and breadth of this country, literally, what the Jospin Group has been doing?
Samson, it's almost like you were reading my mind as you were asking the question. I want to just start, first of all, with okay, let me answer your first question first. I think that those who are doing that job of investigating and so forth are doing it with a closed mind to what people say around, because that's all just hearsay. They are going to look at the facts, they are going to look at the details, and they will come out with their findings, irrespective of what anyone says. Because in the same vein that if they will listen to the president, then they'll also listen to other people who will be. So they will not do that. I think they'll come out with just the findings. So that's the direct answer to your question. I'm not sure that the president was actually endorsing, and that's just my opinion, that he was actually endorsing anything at all. Let's start from that. I think he was taken aback by the amount of work that has been done by this group. And that is the reason why what Nanoye says resonates with me. When this current government was not in power, they should have been more circumspect and careful about some of the things that they said. because this was a company that was cleaning this nation, was housekeeping this nation. There may have been some difficulties or issues with how it was being done and the devil in the details. But in terms of cleaning this country, no one in this country can say that Zoom Lion or Jospong Group did not do this cleaning. They did a good job. I remember that there were even times when people would drop things, and when you told them that, listen, pick that up, they said, oh, leave it for Zoom Lion to come and pick up. And our own government, the NDC government at the time, kept encouraging this group to continue to do the work that they must do in terms of cleaning this country. The MPP government made so many derogatory remarks, and I think that is what is coming back to bite the president now, even though what the president was saying at that point in time was what he had seen, and he, taken aback, made the comment in all honesty that, oh my goodness, you've done a great job here.
And coincidentally, he was seeing and being awed by a facility that President Mahama had been to and also made certain very positive comments about.
And which I had been to myself too. In the lead up to
the elections. Unfortunately, it does look like the opposition then didn't really see any good in that. So when he sees the facility, this is what he says. What we are witnessing here is the modern way of providing service.
That's right.
The collaboration between the state and private sector to deliver public goods. And in this case, the most important in any city is sanitation. It is an eye-opener for me. It is about what is possible, about what collaboration can do, and what is possible with encouragement and proper policy framework. If we have confidence in Ghanaian entrepreneurs, Ghanaian entrepreneurs have to be at the forefront of the social and economic transformation of the country. This sort of facility, seeing it work in detail, is extremely encouraging. Then he ends by saying, when you are at the forefront of doing things like this, things like you are, you will be the subject of controversy. It goes with the territory. I know you a little bit, and I know you are capable of handling it. Stay focused.
Yes, Samson, I hope you haven't stolen my time, because I do want to talk about this issue.
I have not. I wanted to put it in
what you just read is what I was saying, that now the president comes into office, goes to see the work that has been done, because I saw what happened at Lavender Hill. I saw that compost turn into fertilizer. I saw the public-private partnership that created all these things. And when the president now had the chance to go, I'm glad to say he was honest about his initial remark. Unfortunately, that honesty will bite him a little in the back because of the things he had said previously. But I'm glad that he was able to praise this person or this entity that has done all this work, irrespective of what is going on. I think that a lot of the investigation has been done by JoyNews. So the court has been here in JoyNews. The judge has been Manasseh Azuri.
The CID and Yoko, they are all taking all the documents.
Yes, but you have done most of that work here with Manasseh judging almost and insisting and all that. I'm glad that the president went and saw. Basically, he has given us our stone back. What President John Mahama said when he went there and saw it, President Akufo-Addo has said the same. If two presidents in a row are saying the same thing on seeing how good these facilities are, I think that it goes to the credit of the entity who's done this work. Okay. As for how the things were done, it took two to party, both government side and the private side. It was a public-private partnership. If there are issues there, one, we can learn lessons from them and correct how we go forward with some of these partnerships. And two, if any wrong has been done, well, now we have a bill that sorts it out. But I must say that let us not kill the sinner because of a certain sin that is not even yet confirmed. Let us allow this nation to continue to grow with what we have. We are not going to call cleaners from Spain or elsewhere to come and clean Ghana.
Thank you. Honorable Joseph.
Thank you, Samson. I just want to state that the comments that was made by His Excellency the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was not what Nana Oye says is a dishonest one. The thing is catching up on him. He said this in the past and all that. Something, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has been a lawyer for so many years. And he understands what it takes for what is an allegation and what is actually a criminal offense, and for prosecution and conviction on it. He's so clear in his mind what that means. If you look at Article 19(1) of the Constitution, and give me the permission to read, it says a person charged, even charged with a criminal offense, shall be given a fair hearing within a reasonable time by the court. And then 19(1)(c) says that person would be presumed to be innocent until he is proved or pleaded guilty. Something, as we speak now, the Jospon Group or Mr. Japon himself has not been even charged with a criminal offense. It is still at an investigatory investigation stage. Are we then saying that anybody that brings up an allegation against, that this person has done that, this person has done that, makes that person a criminal from the word go? And for that matter, every Ghanaian should stay off that person, or no comment of any sort cannot be passed to encourage such a person. I think if we're doing that, it is a total infringement on the fundamental law of our land, which is the 1992 Constitution. Even when a person has been criminally charged, the law says he's presumed guilty until the prosecution has proffered enough evidence, presumed innocent, until you have the facts, you have the evidence to prove that indeed that person is.
Or you yourself have
admitted that I'm guilty.
Okay.
Something. There's one thing that we ought to know about His Excellency the President. He's a man for promoting, or a championer for local industry. And he has said it. And in the budget, you can see it. One district, one factory, one dam, one district. Everything he is pushing. Even in my office, the Office of the Minister for Public Procurement, he has come out with a formulation of a policy where we are giving 70% of all government contracts to locals. We want to build our local capacity.
The problem of your critics, and when I say your critics, I mean 70%. I mean critics of the NPP as a government now, is that while in opposition and campaigning, you seem to have been projecting that too many things were happening that were connected to Jospon, and that his kind of companies were those that ought to have been blacklisted. Not even giving an opportunity to be near any bidding process.
And that is where I'm coming to, if you had allowed me. With the 70%, we're saying 30% will go to companies owned by women, companies established under youth employment, and companies owned by people with disability. And that is in line with the SDGs that as a country we've all signed up to. If he's promoting local industry, and back to what Mona was saying, that in the past, in President Mohammed's regime, they saw what this man was doing. I would just want to remind her that actually Mr. Japon started this thing under ex-President Kufuor's administration.
I know that.
So you can't say that as if you did it in the past and now we are seeing the good in him. We actually, as a government, in ex-President Kufuor's era, was when Jospon was given the opportunity to even go out there and collect.
So why is it that in opposition
what I'm saying
you started
is that
to blacklist him?
There is nothing wrong with the president promoting his own, giving him the encouragement that he needs to do. If they investigated, and Mona said it, that she has confidence in the investigative process. If the investigators come out with all the investigation that is available and charges are preferred against the man, the prosecutors go to court and are able to convince the court, and the court passes judgment on such a person or conviction, then we are right to say that President, don't even go there.
Right.
But until that, I don't see why a leader and a father of the nation has seen such huge collaboration between government and the private sector. And we have been for public PPP, public-private partnership, that indeed government cannot do it alone. We need the private sector to partner government to come out with these things. And this man, in the creation of all these factories, it's also creating jobs. What is more important to a government? The finance minister said it when he was reading the budget, that unemployment has become a national security issue and no more a social or economic matter. Okay. If we have a number of the youth there that will be employed by one Ghanaian, we will be promoting on our own. All and right. The law says in Article 17 that everybody shall be equal before the law. So if the law is saying that the person is innocent until proven guilty, then there's no guilt preferred on such a person.
No, the problem is that
the president was going on a tour in Greater Accra.
You have pronounced guilt. So if you are changing the guilt pronouncement now, then people should have a problem with you.
Many of the pronouncements, just as Mona said, were media, and it started here. And
the
you know,
pronouncements were what?
They were the
judgments on the mark.
The media only gave you the microphone.
The MPP is now changing their tune.
This is clear double standards.
Ladies,
you say something on a campaign trail, you say he's corrupt, and today
when
you are quoting Article 19.
Not as if I don't want to interrupt.
You are actually done.
No, interrupt.
Thank
this
you.
Is clear double standards.
Thank you.
Today you are quoting Article 19.
The man
should have quoted it on the campaign trail.
Thank you.
The man hasn't taken a bribe of a Ford expedition from anybody, has it?
You call people thieves.
Thank you, ladies.
And today you are saying they are doing something great.
And I would wish that we keep it at what it has been, because there are loads of messages praising you, ladies, for showing a lot of intelligence and being calm about it. Thank you.
When you are vying for a position in the party,
okay, we'll take a break here. We'll be right back.
You have to be seen to be fighting.